Well, I had to do it. I had to buy more NAT shares, and because I had to buy more NAT shares, I have to do another NAT video, surely. On Friday, I bought another $200 worth of NAT shares. Bought those shares there at an average price of around about $4.44. Yep, 444. That brings my average cost here now down to around about $4.78 a share. Before I bought this $200 worth of shares, I think my average price was up at like $4.80 something, $4.90 something, something like that. And Friday was actually a pretty amazing day for NAT. It was up big time there, nearly an 8% move. But why did I buy more NAT shares? What all of a sudden made me come to a realization, like, hold on, I need to buy some more NAT shares? What came to me that said, hold on, I need to make this position larger? Well, it's a few different pieces of new information that have came out over the past few weeks, and once I had a look at everything, it just made me realise, hold on, I need to load some more shares up of NAT. I'm still very bullish on NAT, and I have been pretty bullish ever since I bought it back when I did a few months ago. I've been bullish on it this whole time, even though the stock has been pretty beaten down over these past 2 months, past month or so. I mean, look at the 1 month chart here for NAT. We see that the price just went down and down and down, and it pretty much didn't really do anything at all. Why did we see this drop? Well, I've got a pretty detailed video on what exactly happened or why NAT stock price dropped over the month or so. If you want to watch that full video, click this thingy here. But it was pretty much because the tanker rates continued to fall. The rate at which NAT could charge customers to store oil just continued to fall and fall and fall and fall and fall and fall. And obviously this meant less for NAT on the bottom line. But I've been doing my research after a comment that was left from Clash with Miller on my channel. You're a legend, mate. Because after I did my research on the points that he addressed there, I was like, hold on, he's right. After reading through these kind of points and doing some research on these points, it really made me want to go out there and buy some more NAT shares. We'll get into those great points there, which I'm going to cover in depth in this video. But as always, just before we do get started, make sure to absolutely destroy the like button, please. Helps me out with the YouTube algorithm a lot. And obviously, if you aren't already subscribed and you love the NAT videos, consider subscribing so you watch every single one that I post. Also make stock market videos and personal finance videos. If you're interested in that kind of thing, then why don't you subscribe? Like, come on, let's get into it. Okay, so the main point that I did want to cover in this video, and the main thing that does really get me excited, and I'm sure it gets any other NAT shareholder or NAT investor excited. This is also the reason why I think we did see the stock price go up big on Friday. It's the oil tanker rates. We've seen them finally start to stabilise and flatten off, and even start to go back up, as we'll find out later in the video. Exactly like I said in my last NAT video, in order to see the stock price go back up or a resurgence in the stock price, we needed these oil tanker rates to stabilise or go back up. And we certainly seen that on Friday. Before we have a look at the oil tanker rates ending that week, so ending on the Friday that's just went, I want to show you the one for last week. So the week here ending 3rd of July, so not last week but the week before, and this is the first week we finally started to see the oil tanker rates turn around. Instead of them being down week over week, they were finally up from 10.1 to 10.4, which was finally a good thing to see as a NAT shareholder. Checking these weekly tanker rate reports week after week, seeing them drop in free fall to finally the first week seeing them come back was definitely a good feeling. But then we get to tanker rates ending this week that just went, and we get to see a huge jump for Suezmax ships. These are the ships that NAT use, right? We've seen them jump from 10.4 all the way up to 14.3, which is just great news. It looks like we're finally starting to see oil tanker rates start to stabilise. Due to the whole oil supply situation early 2020, we've seen oil tanker rates be absolutely everywhere throughout 2020. We've seen them originally be at ridiculous prices, and we all knew that that wasn't going to be sustainable, guys. It was definitely too far in the positive direction, right? And we then obviously seen them come crashing down. And then it was almost at the point where it was too far negative, and now we started to see them kick back up like we've seen. So we've had a big increase, big decrease, starting to come back up, and then I think it will stabilise, hopefully somewhere in the middle, because that's going to be great. Because I hope, and I'm thinking, it will stay at a great rate where NAT can start to make a whole bunch of money. And when there's some certainty in the tanker rate, it's going to be some certainty for investors, and we might see some people jump into this stock and the stock price go up. Because I still think this year will be a great year for NAT, and I still think they will make a great amount of money. Like I said, I'm still very bullish on NAT stock here. If we still look at year-over-year numbers, the tanker rates in 2019, the average tanker rate in 2019 compared to the average rate here year-to-date 2020, year-to-date 2020 is still up huge. But yes, the main great piece of news I wanted to share with you guys was that piece of news right there. Definitely some great news if you're a NAT shareholder. I know I was pleased reading that one. Another piece of news that I completely missed a few weeks ago was Herbjorn Hansen, the CEO of NAT, buying a massive amount of shares. The CEO of NAT, Herbjorn Hansen, bought 50,000 shares of NAT back when it was at like $4.08 a share. If I seen this bit of news back then, it probably would have made me buy a few shares, to be honest. It would have made me feel more confident about buying NAT shares at such a beaten low price. You know why? It would have led me to think, hold on, this guy knows something that we don't. He's got some insider news on what's happening, so he's decided to pick up a whole bunch of shares because he's expecting the stock price to rise soon. That's what I'd be thinking. I really wish I'd seen this news article soon, because it would have made me think, hold on, what does he know that we don't know? Like, did he know that tanker rates were going to start to stabilise and maybe even increase? Because that's obviously exactly what we've seen happen and what we've seen play out. That's one reason why I think he decided to buy a bunch of shares, because he could have potentially seen that info before anyone else. But we can see here actually the main reason he did decide to scoop up some shares at such a low price was due to the US imposing trading sanctions on tankers to cut trade between some countries. I don't really know the full story on this one, to be honest. This area is a bit out of my circle of confidence, but basically from what I believe, it is beneficial to NAT because it further cuts the demand for oil, which means obviously greater demand for oil storage, which is NAT's game. So overall, some great news for NAT there as well. I still think we're going to have an awesome year. And with the second wave of COVID starting up, it could possibly be some good news for NAT. Yes, obviously it's terrible, it's horrible that COVID may be coming back for a second wave, but it's actually beneficial for NAT's business model. We've already seen COVID come back in a second wave in a few spots around the world, particularly one close to me, in the Australian state of Victoria. Now, thankfully, I don't live in Victoria specifically, but it's still not exactly great, is it? They started to ease restrictions, and then the COVID situation started to ramp back up again all of a sudden. People started to go out thinking it was all good, and the COVID cases started to rise again. And it's even gotten to the point where they've had to put some restrictions back in place. They've had to go back into lockdown. It's no good, and if we see this on a larger scale or larger places such as in the USA, it is going to be detrimental. Because if a second wave of COVID hits, obviously everywhere's going to have to go back into shutdown, and we might have a big panic because obviously there's going to be a greater amount of economic shutdown again, and it's definitely not ideal for anyone. It's terrible news, but I guess NAT actually would potentially benefit for it. As horrible as it sounds to say, it's a good situation for NAT. If business and economies have to shut down again, it's beneficial for NAT because there goes demand for oil. The demand for oil is obviously going to drop off massively because businesses and economies don't need to buy oil anymore if places are shut down or they're just simply not using as much oil. If oil demand drops off, then the demand for oil storage is going to go back through the roof. People are going to pay a higher price to store their oil because obviously if the price of oil is down, they ain't going to want to sell it. And obviously that's highly beneficial for NAT because they're the guys that are storing the oil. That's their game. So overall, to sum it up, obviously this news is very positive for NAT, and I'm still very bullish on NAT. Duh. I'm obviously still holding because I've just bought some more shares there, and to be honest, I may even buy some more. Still think there is that massive gain in the stock price that we are still yet to see, and obviously I'm gonna love the fat dividends that come through. As always guys, don't buy a stock just because someone on the internet told you to. Do your own research and realise whether it's going to be a good investment for you or not. But anyway, are you still bullish on NAT? What do you think of NAT stock? Let me know in the comments guys. But that is all I have for today. Make sure you absolutely destroy the like button, like I said, it really does help me out. Click the circle to subscribe and check out the NAT playlist and most recent NAT video here. But that's all I have for today, guys. You have a good one.